Hello everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And today we're doing another episode from the Criterion channel, which comes out April 8th. They already put out their first week of scheduling, so check that out. They're doing this past week was a movie I've never heard of called Detour.
I've heard of it.
By Edgar Ulmer.
It's
from 1945?
Yeah, it's lumped in with the film noir group period of films.
Yeah.
I mean, it has
elements.
It has vague elements that I think you can link it to, but
the narrator.
It's the you can argue wrongfully accused, and you have kind of that noir speak even in there. And it's from that period between the 40s and the 1960s. It deals with a sort of insidious plot. I mean, this is a very different film noir than I've seen.
It's very
but it's on those collections. If you ever go and rifle through like those DVD multi-packs, Detour is normally somewhere around. You can find it in there.
It's a guy who has anxiety, and he's like, what do I do? And it just makes it worse.
Well, he's pretty crabby to begin with. And it's this perceived sense of, like, it's this guilt that he has that is or is not justified based on what you think, like, in the movie. This is a really brisk watch. I mean, it's only
an hour and 9 minutes. Well, it's an hour and 8 minutes total, but if you watch on the Criterion channel, it's an hour and 9 minutes because there's like a minute of like how it was restored.
Yeah. So they did like a really like in-depth restoration recently. It went into the National Film Registry. But it's a really quick kind of movie, but it starts.
There's a lot in it, though.
Yeah, it starts with him in the present, and then the rest of the movie is pretty much a flashback up until the very end, which is a fantasy sequence.
Yeah.
And it's this guy who is hitchhiking across the country, and then we see why he's such a crabby jerk.
Such a crabby, sweaty jerk.
Yeah. Like, he gets mad when a guy, like,
uses a nickel for the jukebox.
Well, no,
when I heard him say, like, let me get a change for this dime.
He was gonna offer him a ride because he's like, I need somebody to talk to when I'm driving at night. Otherwise, I'm gonna fall asleep. And he's just trying to be nice to him, and the guy just like gets really mad.
Yeah.
And then he gets even more mad when he plays a particular song on the jukebox, which reminds him of what put him in the whole situation.
Yeah. It stars Tom Neal.
Mm-hmm.
It plays Al Roberts. Yeah, Roberts. I think that's his name is.
Yeah.
And then there was then also stars Anne Savage. Anne Savage plays Vera.
Yeah.
So she is
There's a part of your noir elements in there. She's kind of your femme fatale.
Yeah,
in a
she's
way.
a fast talker.
Yeah.
Also, she's more shady than he is. He's not really shady, but he's more of like...
Well...
when things happen, he gets really paranoid. It's
that
like,
depends. So, what I think is really interesting about the film is I kind of come from the point of view that he's an unreliable narrator. So the whole movie is from his perspective. He's the narrator. He's going back into his memories. And... I think it's possible he could be doctoring these memories to cover up his guilt. And that's kind of the interesting thing for me.
That's interesting.
Is whether or not he's doing that.
I didn't think about that.
Because he's so steadfast in saying that he's not guilty. And goes through the whole story every time.
Oh my God.
And then when you think back and you're like, but he feels guilty. He's paranoid all the time.
But also, you gotta think that makes more sense because I always thought like there's two deaths in the movie, and I still think both of them, how the people die is very far fetched.
Yeah, that's the great part of this movie.
It's like that can't happen. That's very happenstance. That's very coincidental. That happened at the right moment. He pulled that thing,
and it's not just that it's such a strange happenstance. It's also like there's details that aren't fleshed out, and on top of it, there's things you don't know because you're coming at it from his perspective. So, like, there's a point where he hitches a ride, and he's in Arizona, and the guy picks him up, and he's like, sweet, I'm going to Los Angeles too. I'm going to take you with me. And he falls asleep in the passenger seat at one point.
Haskins, yeah.
But he's so far asleep, like he never wakes up.
Yeah.
And, not to spoil too much, I mean, basically, the plot leading up to this is his wife goes to Los Angeles to become a starlet.
Well, no, his girlfriend.
Well, his girlfriend.
He wants to marry her.
Yeah, he wants to. And that's another detail that I think is really subject to scrutiny, is if all the other memories are doctored, like, to cover up his guilt, maybe she's trying to get away from him.
Yeah, maybe she moved away.
Right?
Oh my God, Joe, you're making this movie a totally different...
It's so much better, right?
Yeah.
But, so the guy dies, and he thinks it's because he opened the door, the guy fell out and hit his head on a rock. But part of you could be like, he could have died from whatever illness he had, because he talked about having, like, that really bad infection with his scars.
Yeah. He could overdose on pills.
He could have, yeah, whatever those were.
And, and he hides the body, and you're like... It's more like, oh my God, that person down the street saw me. I gotta do it. And it's just like a lot, very paranoid.
I think of this as a really big, like, precursor to The Machinist with Christian Bale.
Okay.
Where it's somebody consumed with this perceived guilt, and you don't know what to trust, like what memories or visions to trust. And I really enjoyed it. It wasn't.
We also got to talk about the cinematography on here is pretty good too. In certain parts, there's parts where the cinematography, like
there's the rear projection shots.
The Vera's room near the end, where it's like blurry and then in focus and various things, and you're like, I don't know about this. But there's some mostly the beginning. You're like, oh wow, like
there's some really interesting shots and lighting that they do early on. I really dig a lot of the movement that they tried to employ with the camera. Unfortunately, you have those problems with the focus going out and things like that happening. But
and it's kind of shaky at times.
I really dug the attempts. You know what they were going for.
Yes. So Joe.
Yeah.
Bye. Rent or skip?
I think... Oh, man. I want to say buy so bad, but I'm going to have to say rent.
Really?
It's going to be a rent. I think it's a fun watch. I think some of the dialogue kind of...
It's dated?
Yeah, it's dated. It kind of puts up a barrier between most audiences and the movie. But, and of course, there's some of those technical mishaps. There's a lot of really good stuff in here. It's a really interesting story, and especially if you interpret it the way I do, it adds even more intrigue to it.
I'm torn on it too, because it's like...
To me, it's not one of those must-have film noir.
It's well made, but there were things like when they were driving and he's telling the Vera, there's a weird jump cut in the same angle, but it's like it was obviously edited and cut at one point.
So to me, it's not one of the must-haves of the genre, or period. If you don't like the term genre for film noir. It's not one of those like tentpole ones, but it's definitely worth a watch. It's one of the better ones than the ones they were cranking out at certain points.
Said rent. I'm gonna say buy.
Oh yeah.
I walked into this movie. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a film noir, whatever.
You think it's a throwaway?
And it was actually not a throwaway. It was very brisk pace. It was only an hour.
I want to see.
I would say buy if the Blu-ray DVD had a lot of supplements. Mm-hmm. This is an hour-long movie. It might just be a good rental on the Criterion channel. Not rental. I guess you can't rent on the Criterion channel. But it's good to watch on the Criterion channel, the stream, or whatever. If it has good supplements, I would definitely say buy.
Right.
Because I want to know more about the history of the movie and interviews and stuff like that.
I want to know kind of what happens in the book and exactly how they tell the story in the book. And another fun fact, they remade it with Tom Neal's son in his role.
Really?
Yeah. Tom Neal Jr.
Oh, geez.
Plays Al Roberts or whatever the character name is in the remake.
Okay, now I'm gonna want to check that out. I don't wonder how it's gonna be. It's probably
I heard it's not as good.
Well, yeah. So that's our thoughts on this this movie from 1945. What are your thoughts of Detour?
Mm-hmm.
Let us know in the comment section below. And how much else? Subscribe, like, share.
I mean,
suggestions.
We can talk about film noir, other film noir movies that either on the collection or should be in the collection.
Yes. And some that we haven't done yet.
Yeah, because we haven't really touched that genre too much.
Yeah. Then we did M.
Yeah, well, M's well before that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not that American film noir that happened, but it's like proto
Fritz noir.
Yeah. Fritz noir.
Fritz noir. Yeah. So let us know. And next week we are going into April. Big release week, April. So next week we're going to do a Jim Jarmusch film.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Because he has a couple of them being re-released on Blu-ray and DVD. So next week we're going to do one. And you can take a guess what it is.
It's not that, man. We already did that one.
Yeah. It's not that one.
There's other ones.
We've only did one of them, so I guess.
Yeah. That's the only one we've done. So there's other ones you have to pick from.
Yes. So yeah, until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
And we will see you later.